Shabbat Shalom Mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of the Brit Chadasha Connections. This is Rabbi Yehuda coming at you with Torah portion number 35, which is Naso, which means make an account. And we're going to be taking our reading from Acts chapter 21, verses 17 through 26. Now, our Torah portion deals with the laws regarding the Nazirite vow, and our half-Torah portion deals with Samson, one of the most famous people in Scripture who ever took a Nazirite vow. And in our portions in Acts, we're going to be talking about Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul, who took on a Nazirite vow. Now, let me give you the backstory of this. In Acts chapter 28, verse 17, Rav Shaul says, look, he says, there's people out there, and I'm definitely paraphrasing here, so I'm not quoting word for word, but Rav Shaul is basically saying, look, people has accused me of teaching Gentiles not to keep the Torah. That is a bold-faced lie. It's not true, and I'm going to prove it to you. He says, even though I've not done anything against the Torah, I've not done anything against our people, I've not done anything against the laws and the customs, the Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers, the tradition of the fathers, even though I'm not in the wrong, irregardless, I'm going to prove to you that I keep Torah. I'm going to prove to you that I teach others to keep Torah. I'm going to take a Nazirite vow, and not only that, but I'm going to fit the bill for several other people to take the Nazirite vow with me. And when we sacrifice at the temple, it should be clear to you that I've not told the Gentiles that the law has been done away with. So, in Acts chapter 21, verses 17 through 26, it says, "And when we were come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly. And that day, following Paul, went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord, and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are who believe, and they are all zealous for the Torah. And they are informed of thee, that thou art teaching all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses." In other words, don't keep the Torah, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither walk after the customs. What is it therefore? The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this, that we say to thee, We are 4 men which have a vow upon them. Take them and purify thyself with them, and be at charge with them, that they may shave their heads," in other words, complete the Nazirite vow, "and all may know that those things wherefore they were informed concerning thee are nothing." So he's saying, do what we say, take on this Nazirite vow so the people will know for sure and believe that you aren't teaching the Gentiles or the Jews among the Gentiles to forsake the law of Moses. "But that thou thyself walkest orderly and keep the Torah. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only that they keep themselves from offerings of idols, and from blood, and things that are strangled, from fornication." Then Paul took the men, and the next day, purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them. So, Rav Shaul sacrifices after Yeshua had already died on the cross. Didn't Yeshua's death do away with the sacrificial system? No, it didn't, because the sacrificial system is an inheritance to the Levites, first of all, and it's also something that we can look back on to remind us of what Messiah did for us. So here we see Rav Shaul fulfilled a Nazirite vow on the request of Yeshua's half-brother, James, Yaakov, who is the head of the Messianic Netzari believers. Now, in Acts chapter 28, verse 17, Rav Shaul says, "And it came to pass that after 3 days Paul called the chief of the Jews together. And when they were come together, he said unto them, Men and brethren, though I have committed nothing against the people or customs of the fathers, yet I was delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans." So he's basically saying, hey, I've always kept Torah. I've always taught others to keep Torah. So anyway, we've got to remember these things. That a lot of people want to accuse Rav Shaul as being antinomian, anti-Torah. That's the way maybe his writings may seem to the uneducated eye. And even Peter, in 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 15 through 16 says, you know what? Rav Shaul is a very, very deep man. He's got a lot of deep things to say that are hard to understand. And a lot of people take what he has written and twist it to say what it doesn't really mean, and therefore doom their own souls because of it. So even Peter was saying, no, Rav Shaul keeps the Torah. You know, he's not teaching everybody not to keep the Torah. You've got to look deeper into his writing. Rav Shaul is sort of like the Zohar and the Kabbalah of Messianic and Netzari Judaism. His stuff is deep, and some people have no business reading his stuff yet. Stick with the Gospels, right? Stick with the Torah until you understand and can apply those principles to the writings of Rav Shaul, and therefore you'll really realize and understand that Rav Shaul, wasn't an antinomian. But anyway, the bottom line is, if you interpret Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul's writings, as anything but pro-Torah, you have sorely misinterpreted, misrepresented, and misunderstood this great Netzari Jew, Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul. So thanks for watching. Shabbat Shalom and Shavua Tov. Bye-bye.